Hello, apostate congregation. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of The Mormon Atheist. Today, I got a pretty good show for you guys. I know this is a long-awaited, anticipated show. I've been talking about this for quite some time now, but I have actually finished reading now the Book of Mormon from the Church of Christ. Okay, so the Church of Christ, as we all know, is Joseph Smith's original church. And we're gonna start a series that's talking about the comparisons of these books. I want to compare the books book by book. So First Nephi, Second Nephi, not so much chapters. Okay, I just want to get into the books because you'll see why here in a few minutes as I explain this as why I want to get into the books more than the chapters, okay? Because these two books are very different from each other. They're not the same at all, right? They're longer than each other. They're one's longer, one's shorter. One has stuff, the other one doesn't have stuff. And that's the stuff. That's what I want to point out in this series, right? Of going through the Book of Alma, the Book of Ether, the Moroni, things like this, because some of these chapters and books, they don't even exist in this book. They're not there. They don't exist at all. They weren't taken out. They weren't added. They weren't moved. Nothing. They just flat simply do not exist in this book. Okay. And this is Joseph's original Book of Mormon, right? This is the Church of Christ Book of Mormon. This book was based off of the printer's manuscript, the actual printer's manuscript. And so the question arises to me as we go through all of this stuff, right? Is, did Brigham Young steal Joseph Smith's religion, right? Did he hijack his? We know he hijacked it, right? But did he just flat right steal it, right? Okay, that's kind of where we're coming from on this, because a lot of the stuff in if you watch my past videos, the books that we read, the stuff that we go into, that we talk about, there's information that's either there or it's not there, right? And the information that's there in the Brighamite sect of Mormonism, these stories that have to do with Joseph Smith himself have been completely altered, 100% altered. And these are things that we're going to go through on this channel just over time, periodically, episode by episode. And, we'll see how it ebbs and flows. But, we're going to get into some of this stuff. And so this is going to be our first episode on this series of comparing the Book of Mormon. So please bear with me, apostates, if I seem a little bit, janky on this, because I'm putting it together, but I'm trying to put it together from my mind onto paper that is comprehensive, and that's very difficult. Okay, and so I will get better as this goes, right? So I'll be able to formulate it and put it in better, but let's give it a shot. I mean, what do we got to lose? We ain't got nothing to lose. So let's get to it and let's start comparing the Book of Mormons. So we got the Church of Christ Book of Mormon and the Brighamite Book of Mormon. This is 1984 book. The book that we all know, that version came out in 1981. So, all right, anyways, so this one is the printer's manuscript. That's what this book is based on, right? This is the Church of Christ. It came out in 1830. Depending on which edition you buy, you will either get the 1830 or the 1840 edition of this book. either way, they are pre what I'm talking about today. Okay, so today's topic, the presentation, is when does the Brighamite Book of Mormon significantly change? Okay, and the answer to that is we're going to get into it. So the LDS Church, they claim, and remember, we're only talking about First Nephi today, right? That's all we're talking about is First Nephi. So the Book of Mormon, or I mean, the LDS Church, they claim its Book of Mormon is the divine, unchanged word translated by Joseph Smith. Okay, that is what LDS claim today. The truth is, okay, their First Nephi, right? Their book entirely, but the First Nephi is a doctored, heavily edited, heavily expanded, just creation that they created, right? The Church of Christ preserves the original text, right? The Church of Christ is based on the printer's manuscript. So when you read the Church of Christ, Book of Mormon, apostates, I'll just hold up here, right? We're going to throw in the Book of Mosiah, okay? You can see the structure, right? See the structure, how different it is, okay? Versus compared to your Book of Mormon at home, right? Just open to a random page. You see how it's double-sided, right? Okay. That is important. That is important, okay? That double-sidedness, right? Okay, so the Church of Christ original book, it's simple, it's sparse, it's easy to read, and it shockingly lacks all of the Mormon theology. There is none of the stuff that's in the Brighamite book as far as the theology is concerned. The LDS Church adds this later, right? And they use this as a control mechanism, right? And we'll get into that, right? So I call it textual vandalization, right? It's literally textual vandalization, what the Brighamite sect did to Joseph's original Book of Mormon, right? So one thing I want to say, apostates, is when in my past videos, right, I have this sentiment of there's something wrong, right? Something's not jiving, right? Like it's not passing the smell test. I can't put my finger on it. But the longer I do these videos, apostates, and the more research I do into this stuff, that starts to narrow down, okay? And I really, truly believe this. I honestly believe this, apostate congregation. The reason for this, right, is the way that I'm approaching this, right? I'm approaching this with a complete, like, let's prove or disprove the church's story, okay? The church has a story. The church tells us a story. Let's take their story and go out to outside source information, people that have nothing to do with Mormonism whatsoever, and read their books, read what they're saying, read what the townspeople, the newspapers, all that kind of stuff. Some of the stories you can prove, some you can disprove, some that you can prove are legit, but they're completely altered and fabricated and changed and reworded. And these are based on texts and we stay true to the text, right? But as we learn more of this stuff, right? And then we learn more about the Church of Christ. I cannot express how important to you the Church of Christ is in the study of Mormonism and Joseph Smith. If you are not looking at the Church of Christ, you're missing, like, no shit, 95% of the story, apostates. Okay, because the entire foundation, the entire movement of Mormonism begins with Joseph Smith, or this character persona called Joseph Smith. Okay, so something is taking place, something is going on. It's got its base theology over here, right? And then Brigham Young comes and it completely changes. This is why I stay true to Joseph Smith, right? I'm staying 100% on the late 1700s to when he dies. I want to know what's happening. I want to smell that guy. I want to be so close to him. I can smell his beer breath, alcohol breath, his deodorant, pit stink. That's how close I want to be to this guy. Okay. I think the guy was a scoundrel. I'm not sticking up for the guy by any stretch of the imagination, but is what I am. I'm on a quest. This is history. Your opinions, our opinions, my opinion has no place. There's no room. We are going to what the book says. What do these books tell us? And when you read enough of them, you start to get a very clear picture of what's happening. And this goes all the way back to like no kidding, the anti-Masonic movement. It starts with the anti-Masons, right? The Church of Christ is all over the anti-Masonic books. It's all over in those books. So this movement is already happening, but in those books, the Masonic books, they're not talking about Mormonism at all. There is no Mormonism. Let's be squarely clear about that. In the anti-Masonic books, they are not talking about Mormonism, but these Mormon names, right? Orson Pratt, Orson Hyde, Lodum Lawson, all of these people are in these anti-Masonic books, and the Church of Christ is having something to do with the abduction and murder of William Morgan, right? You cannot dismiss that. I don't care who you are. I don't care how LDS you are. I don't care how conspiratorial. You cannot dismiss that. Okay, these anti-Masonic books are clearly talking about them as Masons, not Mormons. But the Church of Christ is all over in these books and these Mormon names. Okay, so if you dismiss the Church of Christ when you are studying Mormonism, you're missing the entire what's the word I'm looking for? If you dismiss the Church of Christ, you're dismissing the Masonic story of Mormonism. That's the better way to put it. Does that make sense, apostates? Okay, you have to account for the Church of Christ. With that being said, William Smith's book on Mormonism, Joseph's brother, his book comes out, and the headline front, very first page of the book is Articles of Incorporation, Church of Christ, 1830. There we go, Church of Christ again. Okay, apostates, you got to connect these dots, right? This is the Church of Christ's original Book of Mormon, based off the printer's manuscript. Now, this is just not any Church of Christ. This is the Church of Christ at Temple Lot. Okay, specifically Joseph Smith's original church. You have to take this stuff into consideration. So when you watch these podcasts and you see these historians and they dismiss the name changes of the church, they do that to fuddle you. They're dismissing legit history, and they're inserting their own history by saying, oh, that doesn't matter. That was just a time. It doesn't matter. Okay, there's no room for opinion, apostates. This is not our opinions. This is not my opinion. These are what the books say. All of my videos, none of it is I do say my opinion, but I say that this is my opinion. Okay? So, with that in mind, to set that kind of a stage up, right? Let's keep going. Let's talk about the Church of Christ and their original Book of Mormon and the Brighamite sect. And that is what this series is about. to set this stage, right? It's going to be a series. We're starting with First Nephi, okay? So, anyways, let's get back, okay? Okay. Okay, this exposure, the textual vandalization, was perpetuated by Orson Pratt and other LDS editors of the sacred scripture. Okay. Okay. In First Nephi, in the Church of Christ book, the only thing it talks about mainly is Lehi's family journey, and that's it. That's it. Okay. Okay. The Temple Lot version is the version that you've never heard of. This is the actual translation. Now, folks, we're going to get into some differences here. Okay, First Nephi. We are going to thumb to First Nephi. Here is your table of contents. There's your Church of Christ logo. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, here, I should give you this here. Down here it says, compared with the printer's manuscript, 1830, da-da-da. You can read all the stuff, all the goods right there. All right, First Nephi. As I'm thumbing through this, I just noticed the witness testimonies. Maybe we'll do one on that too, eventually. All right, so here we go. First Nephi. Here we go. First Nephi in the Church of Christ, Book of Mormon. You can see the structure there. It's a little different. Okay, this thing is only 14 pages long, apostates. First Book of Nephi. Where the fucking pages? There we go. 14. Oh, I lied. 15. It's 15 pages long. First Nephi, right there. Here. Okay. 15 pages, 7 chapters. First Nephi has 15 pages and is 7 chapters long. I will spare you with doing the same thing with the modern Book of Mormon, but just know that it's 22 chapters long. You can look for yourself, and 50 pages. Okay? So something's not right, apostates. One is 14 pages, 7 chapters. The other one's 22 chapters, 50 pages. Okay, so the LDS version has, it's full of, there's all of the visions are added, the sermons are added, the prophecies are added that did not exist in the original book. So in First Nephi, Lehi's visions, Lehi's sermons, Lehi's prophecies are not in the Church of Christ original Book of Mormon. They were added, retrofitted later into the Brighamite Book of Mormon. Okay? You can look up all of this yourself online. You can get this book. It's you have to look up the Church of Christ Temple Lot so you get the right one. Otherwise, you'll get up like Baptist churches and stuff like that. Which that in itself is a funny thing. Okay, but so anyways, all right, it didn't exist. Okay, the expansions, they didn't happen. Okay, it wasn't by accident. Okay, these were deliberately added. Okay, they were added by the elders. You know, Orson Pratt, he hijacked the scriptures to legitimize the LDS doctrine, right? So we're going to go into some differences, some specific differences. Okay. The vision chapters. Okay. 11 through 15. Okay, they're full of the mysticism and the Christ, the tree of life, completely missing. All of that is totally gone. It does not exist in the original Book of Mormon. Okay, it's totally missing. Okay, now you have to remember this is the printer's manuscript. This is based off the printer's manuscript. It's touted as never being changed. Nothing. Okay. The punctuation sucks. It's crazy. Okay, that's one. Okay, just remember we're in First Nephi, and all of this is taking place in First Nephi. Okay, a 14-page, 7-chapter book in this book, a 22-chapter book, 50-page in this book. Okay, it's all been added to the Brighamite sect of Mormonism, right? So the visions, these visions form the heart of LDS theology, right? But were retroactively injected, right, specifically to brainwash the believers, to make you think something else than what's there. And did they ever tell you any of this stuff? No. Is what they do is they say, read this book. That never happened. Trust us. This is a cult, apostates. You have to think of this in a cultic dynamic, right? What do cults do, right? You know, the term drinking the Kool-Aid just didn't come from nowhere, right? So other missing passages, Lehi's prophesying of Israel's salvation. That's in Nephi 1:5. That's not in the Church of Christ Book of Mormon. Okay, Nephi's detailed shipbuilding saga in First Nephi 17. It's not mentioned at all in the Church of Christ, right? Because these things are not in the book. They never happened, right? Okay. The exact passages 1 through 15, the prophecy is gone. Okay. 11 through 15, the tree of life is gone. 17, the shipbuilding is gone. 16, right? That entire chapter is gone, right? You have to remember anything after chapter 7 in this book doesn't exist in this one. So whatever takes place after chapter 7 in the Brighamite Book of Mormon is not in the original manuscript Book of Mormon. Do you understand that? Okay. That's only First Nephi, apostates. So the Book of Mormon is a moving target. Okay, the modern day Brighamite Book of Mormon, it's a moving target. Okay, it's not scripture. It's a moving target. When we get into Second Nephi, I've already got everything written for Second Nephi. When we get into Second Nephi, you will be stunned. You'll be stunned because there is stuff in Second Nephi that will blow your mind away that is not in this book either. Okay, so that's a cliffhanger for part 2. Okay, the Temple Lot version strips away the LDS fairy tale, revealing the original text as plain, simple, and devoid of most, if not all, of the LDS doctrine, right? Because in the first Book of Mormon, it's more or less just a story, right? In the Brighamite Book of Mormon, there's theology built into the story. Does that make sense? Okay, so Mormonism depends on rewritten history. Wow, where have we heard that before, apostates? Okay, and scripture to cover up its man-made origins, right? So, yeah, I mean, how else do you explain that, right? I mean, Joseph Smith created this stuff, right? And so, like, I mean, you know, without being a dick, I don't know how to say that, but like, if you want to follow Joseph, I would say go to the Community of Christ or the Church of Christ, because that is the true Joseph, right? There's no polygamy, there's no shenanigans, there's no cover up. They're straight, they're open, they're honest, they're legit. It's all a fabrication, apostates. Don't get me wrong. But if you wanted to follow Joseph, that's where I would go. If you're wanting to follow Brigham Young and the polygamists, that's where I would go. Because they're two very separate sects of sects of Mormonism. Very different. Okay. That's part of the stuff that I've uncovered with this channel is all of the backdating. There is so much backdating. Anything that has to do with Joseph Smith and the Brighamites, like 90% of that shit's backdated, because it's either talked about in these other books that I've been reading and bringing to you guys about other subjects. I've never talked about any of these subjects with these books, but these subjects are all in these books, okay? So that's why I keep telling you, just read the book. You will find something that appeals to you, okay? And the thing that got me going on the Book of Mormon was the fact that through reading these books, they keep referencing, they give page numbers, and they'll write the revelation. There it is, right there on page number this. Well, when you flip to that page number in the Brighamite Book of Mormon, it's not there. Like, it's not even close. We're talking Revelations, and it's in like the Book of Ether is the page that they're talking about, right? And it's like, what the F? Okay, so then I started looking through other Book of Mormons, you know, the rewrites, stuff like that, right? And it's not there either. Well, this, if it was just in one book or one time, that would be like, okay, this guy messed up or he got it wrong or, you know, whatever, right? But it's literally in every one of these books. Every single one of these books that talk about the Book of Mormon and recite page numbers and passages, those page numbers and passages do not add up to either one of these books. And this is the original. They don't add up to the 38 version. They don't add up to the 40 version. They don't add up to any version. So where did these people get this from? What Book of Mormon are those people talking about? That's what I want to know, because I can't find it. And believe me when I tell you, I have searched deep and hard, and I cannot find it. I've entered them into ChatGPT, and it says that they don't even exist. So it's a real conundrum, right? In these books, when you read them, they will talk about how the Book of Mormon was originally Joseph Smith's own personal journal. Okay. So if you go to the Joseph Smith papers, that is not what these books are talking about. You can compare them yourselves, but that's not what they're talking about in these books. I don't know where the Joseph Smith Papers journal even came from or how that even came about, but that is not the journal that these people are talking about. Because the journal that's on the Joseph Smith Paper website, that's Joseph Smith's journal, is not what these people are talking about. And I believe them because Joseph Smith is still alive when they're writing their books. And there's no dispute books saying that these people are wrong in the day, contemporary sources, outside source information. There's none. So there's a real conundrum of the Book of Mormon, right? Some say there's no Book of Mormon at all. Others say there's 15 copies. The church says there's 5,000 copies and it's never been out of print. Well, I can show you several sources that say otherwise, that are outside source informations. Okay. So there's a Book of Mormon conundrum here. Is what I'm doing today is showing you the printer's manuscript. This is only the printer's manuscript. I'm not comparing the Pratt version. I'm not comparing none of that. You know, what was it, 1903 or something version, or 1921 version or something. Okay, I haven't even gone there because this is the printer's manuscript. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down, apostates? Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Apostate congregation, I want to go kind of on a side note here. I want to address some commenters. Okay, you guys are beautiful. You're beautiful. Okay. I love the fact that you're reading these books. I love the fact that you're following along, going back, watching the old videos, watching me grow as I learn also with you, because I'm learning too. I was born and raised in the LDS church, right? My entire family, but I've never met anybody that's ever looked at Mormonism like this before. There's no podcast, there's no books, there's literally nothing, because all of the historians and all of the podcasts and all of this stuff, they talk about church history. Do you understand? They talk about the church's history. They talk about what the church approves you to read and what you are allowed to see. This is the cultic move. And these people are writing books and building careers and going to BYU, and they're scholars, and it's all complete and utter nonsense. It's a complete farce. Their careers are complete farces, but they're not wrong, because they are telling you what the church is saying is their history. That's so important. Apostates, answer me this, okay? In any type of scholarship, anything, I don't care if you're talking about freaking flowers, how do you prove or disprove something? Do you use the sources? Think of our government and how pissed off all of you would be today if this took place in the government today. Somebody commits a crime and they're a member of an agency, okay, and everybody, the whole world knows about it. So that agency puts a person from their own agency to investigate the crime. There's no outside look. There's no nothing. It's all done within. Do you understand? That's what Mormon history is. It's all done within. There's no outside look. The stuff that is outside, that is looking, is absolutely smeared. They're discredited. You name it. They're smeared. And this is the brainwashing, because now we, as faithful members, we're looking at this like, yeah, why would the church lie? Yeah, ooh, they're a prophet, man. Ooh, yeah, Joe. Yeah, F those anti-Mormons. You understand what happens? The frenzy, the cultic aspect of this. Okay, that's what's going on here. When these people are just, and in all their books, they're trying to warn you. So you commenters, go back to the commenters. I love it that you're reading these books and you're seeing this for yourself and you're commenting and you're asking legit questions. And I just got to be straight and up forward with you. Okay. Since Mormonism is such a niche thing on YouTube and just anywhere, really, nobody gives two shits about Mormonism except Mormons and ex-Mormons. Okay. So I have two types of commenters. I have people that are legit interested, and I have commenters that are all caps locks. You're an idiot. Do your research. Okay, listen to me, apostates. I'll give you one warning. I'll give you one warning and say, hey, calm down. Ask a legit question. If you got a legit question, ask it. Okay. Don't be a douchebag and be a little dorky, parted hair, combed Mormon boy and think you're gonna like, you know, what's the word? You're not gonna intimidate me. I'm sorry, but so ask a legit question or I'm straight up just gonna block you, dude. Okay, I got no patience. I got no time. You're wasting my time. You're wasting your time. That's the important thing. You're wasting your time by even writing such a stupid comment in the first place. Okay, it's nonsensical. Nobody cares. That's not what the people are here that are interested on this channel looking for anyways. Okay, the Mormon Atheist is such a small channel that we're not interested. You understand? Okay, I will block you. So when you say, you know, if you have a gripe or whatever, I'm not going to block you. But when it's all caps and you're just being a repeated dick, okay? Because if you go through my comments, you will clearly see there's those people. I don't delete their comments. I think they're kind of funny actually, and I use them a lot of times as kind of to prove a point. Like, hey, look, here's this guy doing exactly what I just talked about. You see apostates. You know, this is the kind of stuff that plays out in the comments. Okay. But when you're going to all caps, calling everybody idiots, when you're just spouting this laundry list of Book of Mormon passages, nobody cares. Okay. Especially the caps. I will block those and delete them if you put those up there. The cap locks, absolutely blocked. Okay? We got no time. Be legitimate, be honest with yourself, first of all, right? Because these are legit questions. How do you answer these TBMs? If you're going to spout like that, don't just spout shit. Answer the question. How do you respond to that? I'm not being a dick. I'm not being an asshole. I legit want to know, TBMs, how do you respond to these presentations that I show? What does it mean to you when you watch this? Does it raise questions? Does it make you go further into research? Does it make you do your own dive? What does it do to you? I'm genuinely curious. I want to know. All right. Anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. We're 35 minutes in already. Okay. Mormonism depends on rewriting history. The church took Smith's basic translation and turned it into a Frankenstein. They put arms and legs and, you know, heads and adding divisions and the doctrine lie, the doctrine part of it in First Nephi never happened. It never happened. It's not in the printer's manuscript. Okay, they weaponized the scriptures to control members, not to reveal divine truth. Okay, so don't be a pawn, members. LDS, I'm talking to you, TBMs. Don't be a pawn in the game, in the wheel, right? The wheel of Ezekiel is what you're in right now. Okay, so it's a fabricated scripture designed to confuse and subjugate. Okay, subjugate. All right, and it's okay. It's okay to go through a faith crisis and to be mad and to, you know, I went through it. I'm still going through it. I will probably never not go through it as a born and raised apostate, proud apostate, I add. it will never leave me. I'm 48 years old. This will be instilled in my brain. My entire family is LDS, all of them, everybody, and they all have been, right? They've never been part of any of the polygamous stuff, but I think they go back like 1 or 2 generations, maybe. My family does, and from California. So it's in my blood, okay? Yeah, you don't think I was pissed off, man, when I first learned that Mormonism was bullshit? I mean, you don't think that made me mad? You don't think, but this happened to me when I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. I hated church. I hated church. Okay. And I went every single Sunday until I was 14 years old. Every Sunday until I was 14 years old. And I went to Mutual every Wednesday, Boy Scouts. And I fucking hated Boy Scouts. I hated church. And so I hated that I had to quit skateboarding on Wednesday nights to go to damn church. I hated it, man. I hated it. So anyways, the Church of Christ unmasks the Mormonism lies, a religion built on edited doctrines, doctored texts, not holy revelation. Okay, the Temple Lot, their BOM is the real original, the LDS version. I'm sorry, start over. The Temple Lots BOM is the real original, okay? It's the real original BOM. The LDS version is a corrupted mess of additions and omissions. And we are going to get into so many of those throughout this series, because this is going to be an ongoing series. This is only First Nephi. The next episode to this series, not necessarily the next episode, but the next episode to this series will be Second Nephi. Okay, and then we'll continue on the trail like that. And we'll be breaking it down just like this, but it will be getting better and more articulated and, things of that sort, right? So anyways, if Mormonism claims divine authority, okay, this is important, apostates. If Mormonism claims divine authority, why is its text so blatantly altered and edited? And if your religion is built upon this divine authority, what does that say about your religion, right? And your belief system just as a whole, right? It's not there. It's fabricated, apostates. It is literally fabricated. It's not there. It is not in the original Book of Mormon. It is inserted into this one. And you can read it. Go get this Book of Mormon. Read it. Don't be scared. Don't be scaredy pants. Come on. This is history, people. This is research. This is not ideas. Okay? This is not ideas. I'm not looking for ideas. Okay? I'm on a trail. I'm looking for history. Dates matter. This stuff matters. We try to remain a scholar. I'm not a scholar. I'm nowhere even close to a scholar. Okay? I'm writing this shit down in a freaking notebook. All right? I'm not a scholar, but I would like to stay as close to that approach as I can. And dates matter. History matters, right? And you can take the same approach as what I do is I take this to the Bible, and I do the exact same approach to the Bible. I do that. This is actually what I do for fun, is the Bible, right? The Greek mythology and the Greek Septuagint is my nerd. That's my history. That's my nerd. I love that stuff. I can't get enough of it. So Mormonism is a byproduct of that, right? How do I get people to go into the Greek? I got to get you to stop believing in Mormonism first, right? Because the Greek is where it's at. That's the truth. That's the real, is the Greek. Ancient Greek. not Hebrew, Greek. Okay. But let's start slow, baby steps, and start with Mormonism. Right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, hey, whatever, right? All right. The truth is clear. Mormonism is a man-made as all religions, not a restored gospel. Question everything. Don't let the LDS vision and like don't let all this. This is not minor editing, apostates, right? This is textual sabotage, intentional. They hijacked Joseph Smith's religion. They hijacked his entire religion. The Brighamites did, right? Okay. This is textual sabotage to create a religion of control and myth, right? Okay, because there's a whole lot of myth happening here. You know, you have to acknowledge that. Most of these editions appear in the 1879 edition, okay, orchestrated by Orson Pratt. You have to understand, apostates, the Brighamite version that we have today, this particular version began with Orson Pratt in 1879, okay? There's two other revisions before that, but they were done by Joseph himself, okay? In 1879, that was the first revision done that was not done by Joseph Smith himself. So this whole thing begins with Orson Pratt. The Brighamite sect, the Book of Mormon, is not Joseph Smith's Book of Mormon. It's Orson Pratt's Book of Mormon. Because, like I said in previous videos, what are Mormons notorious for doing? They're taking out the sentiment and adding persecution, or adding this or adding that. But nonetheless, the sentiment is what's always removed. That's what takes place here. Okay. It's really kind of mind-boggling because you have to wrap your head around it. You have to wrap your head around, like, what am I actually hearing? What am I actually reading? Because this stuff is so ingrained in our brains. Even me. I can't begin to tell you how many times I've read some of these books and had to stop for like a week at a time because it's so shattering of like, what am I really listening to? What am I really hearing right now? This is why I read these books so many times. It's because I want to be sure. I go back and read them a lot. But before I talk about them with you guys, I read these books a lot. So I completely understand what is happening in the book. Okay. And I still go back and do other videos on them. I reference them all the time. I can't begin to tell you how often I reference all of these books that I talk about in all my videos, right? So that's important. The 1879 version, the Orson Pratt version, is the first version that was not done by Joseph Smith himself, okay? So again, brings us back to earlier in the video, I was asking the question, what Book of Mormon are these authors talking about? Because it's none of these. It's not the 79 version. It's not the 1921 version. It's none of them. It's not the Joseph Smith Papers version. So what Book of Mormon are these old authors talking about? I cannot figure out. So apostates, if you can help me out, I would very much appreciate it. Specifically, the books I'm talking about are all the ones that I've done videos on. The Golden Bible, Mormonism Portrayed, Mormonism Unveiled, the 34 edition, the 1834 edition, not the 77 edition, and not the Parley Pratt edition either. Okay, there's like 4 versions of Mormonism Unveiled. Okay, we're looking for the 1834 version, E.B. Howe 34 version. Okay, that is its own episode altogether. Why is there so many versions of the same book, right? Yeah, the list goes on. New America, H. Bancroft's History of Utah, Gleaning by the Way. The list goes on. I could name so many books, and they name passages. Rewind the video and listen to what I said on that before. All right. So, anyways, it still raises the question: which Book of Mormon are they talking about? Okay, this is the members assume that these sections were always there. Like it's this is Joseph's translation, the Brighamite Book of Mormon. How many of you would ever question that? How many? I did 100%, because I thought this was the original Joseph Smith head in the hat Psalmonic magic translation. But it turns out it's not, apostates. It's not even close. It's not even close. Okay, to justify the most of the editions appear in the 1879 edition orchestrated by Orson Pratt to justify the evolving LDS doctrine, like the temple endowments, the Christology, the apostasy, the restoration, and the theology. Okay, all of that has been added to the Brighamite book. I hope you understand that. And I'm sorry if that breaks your shells. But it's just reality, apostates. There's nothing I can do about this. This is just what history says. Okay? What history says and what the church say are very, very different things. The cult is going to tell you what the cult needs to tell you. History is going to tell you what you don't ever want to hear. You never want to know the truth because history is telling you the truth. How else can I explain that, apostate congregation? Okay. These are not minor clarifications. These are fundamental doctrinal inventions. Inventions retroactively placed into a book and referred to and now called scripture and is now canonized. This is canonized. Do you understand the impact of that, the severity of a bullshit book that's being canonized? It's literally made up. Not only just made up in the fact of Joseph put a head in a hat and he translated. Yes, that's all made up. Okay. But to add to that story, now you have Orson Pratt inserting on top of that. So it's a lie built upon a lie. Do you get it? The levels just keep stacking here, apostates. And like, so I'm going to give you two more passages. And one of these passages, I promise you, you have never heard of. Okay? 8 through 15, Lehi's vision. We've already kind of talked about that. That's been altered. Okay, we know that. Okay, 18:7. This none of you have ever heard of. Nobody has ever heard of this. Nephi's hymn of praise. Right? That's gone. It's gone. Actually, I'm sorry. I say that wrong. You all have heard of this, but it's not in this book. That was backwards what I just said. You've all heard, it's in this book, the Brighamite book, Nephi's hymn of praise. but there's nothing in this book. None. It's not there. Nephi does not have any hymn of praise. This book in First Nephi is basically literally only talking about the journey. There's no Laban, none of that. It's not in here. So yeah, it's all been added and it's all been altered. And so let's see, do I have anything else here, apostates? Oh, I forgot to say that today's date is August 10th, 2025. I got to get these dates in there because people are plagiarizing my channels now. And so the dirty bastards, they don't know how to come up with their own shit. I'm all about people picking up, right? But for God's sake, man, give the Mormon atheist a shout out once in a while if you're going to steal my material, okay? That's all I'm saying to you. All right. You have a few thousand subscribers. I've got 450. Okay. And you're stealing my material. Come on. You can do better than that. Okay. At least give me a shout out if you're going to steal my material. Don't think I'm like the little guy and you can get away with it. Right. All right. Anyways, apostate congregation, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I thank you guys for watching, apostates, for watching the videos all the way through. I know a lot of you are going back and watching old videos because there is so much information in these videos that I talk about so many different things. And as you can tell in this video, I go off topic a lot and go on to other things. Well, I've actually been working on that, so I'm actually better at that now of not doing that. So if you think it's bad now, it used to be worse. So you can go back in those videos and you can watch those videos, and I'm just talking about all sorts of stuff, and you'll find a nugget of something in there, right? Okay. Like and subscribe to the channel. This channel is not monetized. It will never be monetized. Okay, so the only way that you can support the Mormon atheist is to subscribe, like the videos, comment, get a conversation going, ask questions, tell me what books you're reading, tell me what books, here's something, give me a topic that you would like me to discuss. Through the lens of the Mormon atheist, what is a topic that's on your mind that you would like the Mormon atheist to research in Mormon atheist style and fashion and bring it to the apostate congregation? I'm all about it. Let's do it. This is an interactive channel. We're learning. We are all learning on this channel. I'm learning. You're learning. It's all new information. It's a new way. It's a completely new way to even look at Mormonism, right? Nobody looks at Mormonism like this. Nobody. And this is not to be mean. It's not to demean. It's not to say, look, you stupid Mormons. No, that is not the intent of this channel. This is strictly, we're reading books on Mormonism because I am a Mormon. I grew up with these stories. I know the stories. I know them well enough that I can bring them to you through the lens of these books, right? Okay. And that is the approach that we're doing. And so far, it's been completely phenomenal, totally phenomenal. I am so surprised and shocked at just the level of curiosity that the congregation has of, you're commenting, you're telling me, you're asking questions. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I love it. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Continue doing it. Let me know what you're interested in and what you would like me to talk about. Okay. So let's see. That should do it, apostates. We're 59 minutes in, about to hit the 1 minute or the 1 hour mark, and we're good to go. So you guys have a good Sunday. Like and subscribe to the channel. Like, share the video. We are not monetized. That's the only way you can support me. The channel is to watch the videos, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, read the books, tell your friends about the books. These books most of them are all about Mormonism, but there is so much historically speaking than just Mormonism in these books. They're early Americana, early politics. It's fascinating. It's so fascinating. All right, I'm rambling now, apostates. Like and subscribe to the channels. Do it, do it, do it. All right, have a good day, everybody. We will see you on the next go around. And remember, we are all William Morgan. We are William Morgan. Thank you.